Hello YouTube! This video is part of my build series for the 3D printable Jabba's Palace complete with hangar. I am going to build the whole thing. I purchased this massive set of 3D printable files from Massassi for my 3.75-inch or 1:18 scale Star Wars figures. I will include the link in the description below. Today we are going to work on set 2, the throne area. In this diagram, you can see where set 2 fits into the overall design of the top floor. This is the 7th video of my build of set 2, the throne area. If you haven't already watched the first 6 videos, or any of my other Jabba's Palace videos, you can find them in my playlist that I've linked to in the description below. In this video, I will show you the items that you need to buy in order to light your set. I will briefly explain parallel circuits, show you how to place the LEDs, and how to connect the LEDs with wire. With every model, Massassi provides a PDF file with instructions on how to light your set. I combine that knowledge with additional YouTube research to create the content for this video. I am not an electrician. Use this information at your own risk. Before we start our wiring project, we need to purchase and gather all the supplies that we'll need. The first thing we need is LEDs or LEDs. I chose to get pre-wired ones that came in a pack of 50. They're 3 millimeters in size, so they're just little. I bought white, red, and yellow, 3 different packs. These are 12-volt lights because that's the kind of power source we're going to use. And they have a 30-degree beam angle, which is pretty narrow. It's better if you can find a higher beam angle, but this was the only one I could find with pre-wired. They also include a resistor that's already wired in. The second thing we need is wire to join everything together, and I bought a roll of 65 feet of 22 gauge, and they're red and black wires, which will come in handy later, as you'll see. For the power supply, I bought this one, 12 volt DC power supply, and you can see below there's all kind of adapter heads, and the one we're going to use is the one with the arrow that will hook up to our red and black wires. We're also going to need a switch to turn everything on and off so that we don't have to unplug it every time we want to turn it off. We'll just turn on and off the switch. This is the solder that I'm going to be using on our joints. It's 60% tin, 40% lead, and it's 1.8% flux. And we need that flux in there because it helps to clean the joint and prevent moisture buildup. It really helps the solder to flow smoothly, and it creates strong, reliable connections. Over the joints, we use heat shrink tubing. So I bought a box of various sizes because we're going to need a couple of different sizes. Finally, I bought these wire strippers to help make the process of stripping all the wire a lot faster and easier. In most of the YouTube videos out there, they inevitably talk about series and parallel circuits. For the sets in Jabba's Palace, we are going to build parallel circuits. This means that all the red wires, the positive wires, connect together. All the black wires, the negative wires, connect together. The voltage, 12 volts, is going to be consistent and constant throughout the circuit. In a parallel circuit, if one bulb goes out, the rest will still work. And one LED at the end closes the whole loop. And all the wires go back to the power. Now we are going to start wiring the set for all the lights. So we're going to start around here is where the circuit's going to start, and it's going to end with this one here. And we're just going to light this set. So when I'm all finished and I printed the entire thing out, this will continue on through the track into the other sets, and that will continue on to the track to the other sets because it all ends on set 5. And I'll show you that when we get there. There's a spot for it to start and finish on set 5. So for this one, set 2, we're going to start with this light here, which is the end, and we'll put a yellow light. In his instructions, Massassi tells us where to place the LEDs and what color to use. Here's an example. So here's one of the pre-wired LEDs. It's a yellow one. You always want to test it first, because once you put it in, if it's a dud and you've soldered it, you've got a lot of work to do. So red is positive, black is negative, and I don't know if you can see that, but it is lighting up. It's a yellow light. So this one's good. So he's going to go in there. So that's going to be the end, and that's going to continue down the track to here. And that's where we're going to put white lights. And I'm going to put 2 of them in there because it's a big opening. So again, we'll test them. Okay, I've tested all the lights and all of these LEDs work. I had one dud white one that I tested, but otherwise everybody else is good. So I've positioned them and taped them down with painter's tape just for now, so I know that they won't move. And I've also put the color. So I'll just show you how we're doing it. Yellow, yellow, and yellow. These 3 are the grid lights in the roof. These will be white for the ceiling. We've got 2 reds here and here for the vents. And then we have 2 more whites for the lights. So now it's time to start joining them up. What I'm going to do is use 22 gauge wire, again black and red, to make the trunk lines. So the trunk line, we don't need to measure it. I'm just going to go from my end to the first light. So I need about, let's just say this much. And I'll use some wire cutters. Cut it. And then what we want to do, we'll leave it together. You just want to strip it a little bit on each end. I'm just using my fingernails for this. And then I have these wire strippers that are pretty awesome. And you set the depth. So the depth is from this point to the end of the stopper. And then you put your wire into the stopper and just squeeze it. See that? It's perfect. And it'll give us the same depth every time. I would say it's about 1/2 inch, just to give me enough room. Now, you want to twist the wires. And then I'm going to use these yellow heat sinks to seal up the joint. So you put it on before you make the joint. You don't want to forget to put it on. And I'm using the yellow size because it's just a little bit larger than the wire that I'm using. Do the same thing at this end. Okay, so we're ready to go. We put them in the trunk line, into the grooves that good old Massassi made for us. Now this one will be easier because there's only going to be one wire to one wire. So let's zoom in. Now with these leads, they're already pre-stripped, ready to go. They're short, but we'll see how we do with that. I might need to fix them. So we're going to do a parallel circuit. Yeah, I don't like that. We're going to go bigger. That's better. So a parallel circuit means that all of our blacks or negative wire, black is negative, are going to be hooked together in the entire circuit, and all of our reds are going to be hooked together in the entire circuit. So I'm just twisting the wires. Joining the wires together and twisting them. See, like that. And we're just going to leave it like that for now. But the next step is we're going to solder them. And then we'll put the heat sinks to cover up the joints. But we're going to keep going with the assembly for now. Okay, so that's that one. Now this one's going to be a little bit more complicated. But basically, we have to take the red from the trunk and put all three reds together. So I'm holding them with my hand and then I'm twisting them all together. And then remember, we have our heat sink for after. And then the same thing with the blacks. So the two blacks are coming from the lead. The one is coming from, I'll call it the trunk. And we twist them all together. See, like that. Okay, so our next step is now we're going to join these and the next guy to the trunk. So the next guy will be this yellow one up here. So we need, again, to cut a trunk wire. When you strip it, you kind of want to make sure that there's no wire stuck in the piece that was stripped. If I saw a wire sticking out of there, I'd want to strip it again, because you want to try your best to keep all the strands of wires whole. And then when we put our heat sinks over it, And we won't need a heat sink on this end because we already have one. And then we join these up too. So now we've got 4 black wires hooked into one, all nicely braided. And 4 red wires into one, all nicely braided. And then we'll go here to our yellow one. And now this one is joined into our trunk line. So at this point in sum, we've got our end joined into the trunk. That's going to go up to this one that has the 2 whites. And then it goes up to this one that has the yellow. And we'll keep going. Now to join this white one up with the rest of the trunk here, I don't need to add a trunk line in between them because they're so close. I'm just going to hook them all up. And I've already got the heat sink. So I'm just going to put all the reds on here. Now, this one is a little bit complicated, but you can see there's 1, 2, 3, again, there's 4 reds going in and 4 blacks going in. So now we'll attach another trunk piece from here, and we'll get all these guys here, and we'll join it up to this yellow one at this end. And now we'll finish up the top by doing another trunk line from this joint down to, we'll make it about here. Then it will join into the back side. And then again, we join red to red. So you'll notice a theme here. All the reds in my circuit are joined together, and all the blacks in my circuit are joined together. There's no black wire in the circuit that doesn't join in to the trunk or to another black wire. Here I've finished connecting up all the wires. So here's the end, and it's a yellow light, and then it follows down the track to where there's a white light and another white light, and here's the yellow light, and all these guys are attached here. Then it moves down to this yellow one up here, and then there's a trunk attaching it that goes all the way down here. And you can see I put all these 4 together. So these are big ones. There's 4 wires going into each one, 4 black, 4 red, and then there's the 2 wires that are coming in, and then the 2 wires going out. And here's the final out, which is actually the starting position where we're going to hook up the power to. I will finish up all the wiring in the next video. At this point, you might be asking, how many LEDs can I have on one circuit? Well, in this example, my power supply provides 1 amp. 1 amp is 1000 milliamps, and each LED is 20 milliamps. So if we take 1000 milliamps, divide it by 20 for each one, we get 50. So that means we can have 50 LEDs on our circuit, the one we're building. Thank you for watching my build series video for the 3D printable Jabba's Palace complete with hangar from Massassi. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. If you have any other ideas or tips for how to complete any of the steps that I've shown, please leave us a comment below.